Hi guys, how you doing? Stevie Buckley PT. So do you feel like you've been doing everything right when it comes to nutrition, but you're just not getting the weight loss results that you want? Well, in this video today, I'm going to explain the reasons why that might be and also give you my preferred method for eating, which will give you much more effective and sustainable results over time. Okay, so when it comes to weight loss, every coach has their own method. However, the method I'm going to talk about today is just, in my opinion, the best way for you to not only get results, but sustain the results over time. And it's about what you do over time that matters. And it's being able to stay consistent over time. And if you can't stay consistent with nutrition over time, then you're just simply not going to get the results that you want. So the reason so many people fail when it comes to weight loss and nutrition is that they try to drop the calories far too low for too long. And this can cause a few negative things to happen. The first thing that can happen is that you can get what's called metabolic adaptation. So your metabolism actually starts to adapt to the really low calories, especially if it's done over a prolonged period of time. This meaning your metabolism is going to slow down and it's going to make weight loss much harder to achieve. So you eventually will get weight loss plateaus. If you get weight loss plateaus, then what is likely then to happen is frustration. You're going to get frustrated that you're not seeing this weight drop continuously on the scale. You're going to get frustrated and eventually you're just going to give up and just revert back to your old ways. Another thing that can happen when you stay in a low calorie deficit for a prolonged period of time is it can really have a negative impact on your hormones, especially your anabolic hormones, meaning that it's going to be much harder for you to not only build muscle mass, but to sustain the muscle mass that you actually already have. And this is so important when it comes to weight loss. Having muscle mass on your body, I've talked about it in previous videos, the more muscle mass you have on your frame, the higher metabolic rate is going to be, meaning you're going to burn more calories throughout the day and through rest. So if this low calorie deficit that you're in has a negative impact on your anabolic hormones, it's just going to have a huge knock-on effect to your metabolism. It's going to have a huge knock-on effect to how much muscle mass you're able to sustain or even build, which is going to be basically impossible. Another hormone that causes a big problem when you're trying to lose weight is a hormone called Ghrelin. Now, Ghrelin is called your hunger hormone because it's released in your stomach. It travels through your bloodstream to your brain and it signals to your brain that you're hungry. So the longer you're in a period of a calorie deficit, the more Ghrelin is going to be released. Eventually what's going to happen is you're just going to be really starving, you're going to be really hungry, you're going to probably just give up and binge. So it's really important then when you're trying to lose weight that you try and keep your Ghrelin levels in check. So the method of eating I'm going to talk about today really does just help keep your Ghrelin levels down. It stops this Ghrelin increase and it stops these cravings that you might be getting at the moment. If you feel like you're constantly hungry, then this is exactly what's happening. You're getting high levels of Ghrelin being released in your stomach and you're getting this high level of signaling, which is just making you want to have to constantly grab for snacks and grab for food. So the method I'm going to talk about today just makes it much easier, keeps these cravings away, and it makes it much easier to get results over time. So as you can see, guys, it can be really problematic to stay in this low calorie deficit for a prolonged period of time. And in my opinion, you just shouldn't do that. And if you're not getting results, it's probably likely to one of the reasons why I've just mentioned. So instead, try the method I'm just about to talk about. Now, this method has been around for a long period of time. Many coaches will know this method. However, a lot of people that I've spoken to have never heard of it before. So I just thought I'd make a video today just to highlight it again. And maybe if you haven't tried this method already, you could give it a go and see if it works for you. Now, this method has a few different names. Either zigzag dieting, undulating calories, or cycling calories. Essentially all means the same thing. And what it does mean is just undulating your calorie intake throughout the week. So instead of constantly eating throughout the week in a low calorie amount, you want to be undulating your calories. So some days you're going to be eating high amounts of calories or higher calories, other days you're going to be going lower. So you're essentially going up and down through the week. And this works for a number of reasons. The first reason it works so well is we're not getting what we talked about before, and that is the metabolic adaptation. From eating the low calories for a prolonged period of time, you will get this metabolic adaptation, meaning your metabolism will slowly slow down over time. So by keeping your calories higher, and by undulating your calories throughout the week, we're enabling our metabolism to stay higher, which is going to make it much easier to lose weight over time. It's also going to help keep your hormone levels in check, namely your anabolic hormones and your Ghrelin levels. By eating higher calories or by undulating your calories, you're not going to get these huge drops or spikes in hormone levels. So it's just going to make it much easier, again, to sustain over time. And the results, again, when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to any fitness goal, it has to be done over time. It can't be rushed. The process can't be rushed. So by doing these crash diets, They never work. You want to find a method of eating, same for training, a method of training that you can prolong and do easily over time. And by undulating calories in a way I'm going to tell you about in a second, it just makes it much easier to stay consistent over time, and you don't get this massive negative impact on your hormone levels. And finally, guys, it can just give you a mental break. If you're constantly eating low, really low calories, it can just be extremely mentally exhausting, not naming all these other health issues or problems that it can cause, but it can just be mentally really tiring. So by constantly eating low calories, it just gets exhausting, and eventually, like I said before, you're just going to give up and revert back to your own ways. So again, by keeping your calories higher or by undulating your calories through the week, you're able to have this mental break. You're going to be able to enjoy foods that you want to enjoy. It's not anywhere near as restrictive as staying low calories for a prolonged period of time. So it's just much more enjoyable. It's a much more enjoyable way of losing weight. And whatever is more enjoyable, again, is going to be more sustainable over time and give you better results. Okay guys, so there are quite a few different ways of doing this, and if you know me and if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know I try and keep things as simple as possible and as easy for you guys to understand as possible, so I will do that here as well. The first thing you need to do is find out your calorie maintenance number. Now, if you're not sure how to do this, I'll link a calculator that you can follow down in the description down below. It's really simple, really easy to follow. Now, it's not 100% accurate, however, it will just give you a good starting point to go with. Now, what we want to be doing is essentially aiming for an average energy deficit at the end of the week. Now, you can do this, as I say, in a number of different ways. An example might be if your calorie maintenance number is around 2,500, which it might be for a lot of men, then the way I would recommend you can do this would be something like this. Now, on Monday, you could do 2,000 calories. Now, I don't recommend on your lower days that you drop below 500 calories. You don't need to go any lower than that. Again, we don't want to get any issues with going too low. So around 500 calorie deficit is as low as you need to go. So 2,000 calories on Monday, you would then go 2,500 calories on Tuesday. So you go back up to your maintenance on Tuesday. On Wednesday, you go back down to 2,000. Thursday, back up to 2.5. And you go on like this through the week. Another way you can do it, which can be prolonged period of time, it's more of a kind of 5-2 type diet, which I'm not as big a fan of, but it's entirely up to you and how you prefer to do it. And that would be Monday to Thursday or Monday to Friday running in lower calories, so 500 calories daily right through Monday to Thursday or Friday, and then over the weekend you can eat at maintenance or even into a very slight surplus depending on your goals. So it really doesn't matter how you undulate the calories, how you break the calories down, as long as at the end of the week you're in an average energy deficit, then this is going to give you much better results. Again, it's going to be much easier for you to sustain over time. You're mentally going to feel much better about it. You're mentally going to be a lot happier because you're going to be able to eat some of the foods you enjoy during your higher calorie days, and it's going to give you much better results. So when you're undulating your calories throughout the week like this, guys, I recommend you aim for 4 to 5 days of your low calorie days, your 500 calorie days, and the other 2 to 3 days can be at your maintenance level. This is just going to ensure that you're in enough of an average energy deficit throughout the week to get the desired results. I'm also not saying the only thing that matters is an energy deficit. You want to be aiming for good quality whole foods when you're trying to lose weight, because this is just going to help you feel fuller. The more unhealthy foods that you have, the junk foods that you have, the likely it is they're going to be more calorie dense. You're going to have to eat a lot less of them, and then you're going to be more hungry, and you're going to have the same problems as we talked about before. So eating more healthy, whole, unprocessed foods is going to make you feel much fuller. It's going to make you feel more satiated throughout the day. It's going to make it much easier for you to get into that deficit that we need to on average. Again, especially through your low calorie days, I recommend that you really focus on whole unprocessed foods, and then on your higher calorie days, so your maintenance days, you can sort of split it up a little bit more and have more of the foods that you enjoy. And what I personally like to do is aim for what's called an 80-20 approach. So 80% whole unprocessed foods and 20% I'll have whatever I like. And I just find, again, this is a much more sustainable approach over time, and it just makes me feel a lot happier, especially when I'm trying to lose weight. It's also important when you're trying to lose weight that you increase your protein intake as well. Now, I'm not going to say that you need to get all scientific with your macronutrient breakdown and do a specific amount for each macronutrient, like some people will say. All I'll say is that when you're having each meal, just try and get a good amount of protein on your plate, and this will ensure that you are having enough. And the reason why this is important is it has more of what's called a thermogenic effect in the body, meaning your body uses more energy to process that protein. It also keeps you feeling fuller for longer. So when you're trying to lose weight, it can be a really good tool that you can use to keep you feeling satiated, keep you feeling fuller for longer, and it can just make the process of losing weight much easier. So guys, if you're somebody who feels like you've been doing everything right, you've been following low calories for a long period of time, and you're just not getting results, then I highly recommend that you try what I've talked about in the video today. It's an extremely easy way of losing weight over time. It's just a much more enjoyable method of trying to lose weight. So I highly recommend that if you have been struggling to lose weight, that you give this a go. I've personally had some extremely good results with my own clients, and in fact, even my own wife, who was also following low calories for a long period of time, and ran into plateaus and got very frustrated and eventually reverted back to her own ways. She's been following this undulating calorie approach for the last 2 months and has lost 7 kilos doing it. And also, not only that, she's much happier doing this, obviously following this way of eating, because she's able to eat obviously higher calories, but more of the foods that she enjoys as well. She's able to eat things like chocolate and have the odd glass of wine over the weekend and that type of thing. So it's just a much more enjoyable approach to nutrition. So if you haven't tried it, give it a go. And if you do give it a go, guys, I'd really appreciate if you let me know how you got on down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you did find the video helpful today, guys, please don't forget to drop it a thumbs up and show your support by subscribing to the channel. Thanks, guys.